What did you do the other time? Javid Jenkins in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Javid. So I guess you were here eons ago.
You've had me quite a few times, yes.
Yeah, and what did you do the other times?
First time I was here promoting my gym.
Your gym?
Getting better fitness, and I was talking about how we grew it from a gym in my basement space into one of the largest black-owned facilities in Chicago.
So you're entrepreneurial.
Yes, sir.
What made you like that?
The long story is watching my mother struggle through trying to make it. But the short story is my mother built me strong. So that's what made me this way.
Your mother built you strong.
Yes, sir.
All right. So how did that happen? I mean, a lot of people. So you were raised by your mother.
Yes.
All right. Did you know your father?
I did.
You knew your father,
Yes,
but he wasn't there with you.
No, he was absent. He was in and out.
He was in and out.
Yeah, but he wasn't there.
All right. So talk to all the people that sit where you sat or where you sit, and how did that happen? How did your mom build you strong?
You know, that's a really, really good question. And it speaks to the heart of what we're here today to talk about. My mother, she had this work mentality that basically decided that every day she's got to wake up and work. Every day it was get up, go to work, make sure you make all the ends meet so that you can sit down and rest at the end of the day. And I watched her do that every single day in, day out of her life. And to the point where it got to where I had to become her caregiver. And in watching her do all of that, I learned that there's no shortcuts. You have to work hard each and every day. You have to make your word be your bond. And you have to leave your name in a room where people will talk good about it.
Yes.
And I learned that from her, just watching her hustle.
And you said watching. You said building, and when you describe your mother and yourself, so it's difficult for people to be what they cannot see. And what you saw was someone who set a template for you, and you followed that template.
Absolutely.
And you wrote a book.
I did.
And tell everybody the title of your book.
The name of my book is entitled Illegitimate: Redefining the Outcome.
Illegitimate: Redefining the outcome.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Why that title?
The title is based off of my mother's experience. My mother was born in a place called Dixon State Hospital. For people who are listening, back in the 40s, Dixon State Hospital was an insane asylum, basically. It was a place where people were sent who had mental problems. It was entitled The School for the Epileptic and Feeble-Minded. My maternal grandmother at the time was 16 years old and had been sexually assaulted. And they sent her there because there was no father, there was no husband to have this baby. And when my mother was born, because there was no father, they stamped illegitimate on her birth certificate, to the point where my mother was so shamed about that anytime she had to present her legal documents, she tried to find a way to not present her birth certificate. She would throw it out. And one of her biggest fears was having children outside of wedlock. So she goes through life and she submits herself to a lot of things that she didn't really want to do to keep that from happening. I'll get married to this man that
You'll be back! Emus can't help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual!
And Doug.
Well, I'll be.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I know is not for me, just so that I don't have children out of wedlock. But 3 children into that marriage, she realized she couldn't do this thing anymore. So she and that guy broke up, she got divorced. And then in her sorrow, in her heartbreak, she met my dad. And then they had me. And then her greatest fear was realized. I just had a child out of wedlock. Then here I come, this illegitimate child born to a heartbroken mother and a father who was married, cheating on his wife. So my book is about me overcoming that stigma that's attached to being a bastard child, illegitimate child, and trying to redefine who society normally would say I would be, and my circumstances would try to turn me into. So that's where the title came from.
At what age did you find out that, you were illegitimate? I mean, as a kid, if somebody said that to you, would that have bothered you?
It bothered me because I knew early on that my father, the name on my birth certificate was not my father's name. I knew that early on. And my mother.
Who told you that?
My mother did.
Okay.
She told me, she named me Jenkins because she didn't want all of her sons having different last names.
Got it.
She didn't want, if our names were put in print somewhere, she didn't want to see Julius Jenkins, John Jenkins, Jock Jenkins, Javid Jackson. She didn't want to see that. but it was also her hiding her own fears. So she told me that early on, but I didn't catch the stigma until later in life when I started looking at my brothers were light-skinned and short, and I'm tall and dark. Their attributes are different than mine. Things that we like are different, and I never felt comfortable around them. So then I noticed that there was a difference, and there was a difference in the neighborhood. There was a difference amongst the teachers. I was being accused and associated with things that they had done wrong, to the point where I would be judged because of their actions, rightfully so, because they were terrible in the neighborhood. But it caused a lot of consternation, man. It was just me trying to figure out how to overcome all of that and be my own person. And those are some of the stories that I outline in the book. And I think that, especially for your listeners, that they will find a commonality in that. So some people will see themselves in my story, and hopefully they will find the courage to, one, overcome whatever's holding them down, and two, become what they dream to be.
So when you were a child,
Sure.
Let's say in elementary school, did you know from your mother in elementary school, like some of this story, that you know how you came to be, and then how she felt about that? Did you know any of that?
Not in elementary school, no.
High school?
I started learning in high school the details behind how I was born.
When you started learning that, did that change your behavior, like, in any way?
It did.
Was it drastic?
It was.
It made you do what?
Well, these are really good questions. I tried to live up to my brother's legacy, their reputation, some of the things that they did in the neighborhoods. I tried to live up to that. I wanted to be one of them Jenkins boys. You know, I'm gonna act like they act. So I would treat people how they treated folks. I would act out accordingly. And these things, they didn't fit me. They didn't fit my personality, to the point where, thankfully, teachers and pastors and things saw it and said, something's not right. This isn't you. This isn't how you're supposed to be. You could see in my eyes that I wasn't this person, and they put me on a path. So yeah, I did act out in a lot of ways. Became very real girl crazy, very disrespectful to young ladies at times, mimicking behaviors that I saw. Started becoming a bit of a bully in some instances, and come home at night mad at myself because I was doing to others what my brothers was doing to me. Got it. Yeah.
But you knew somewhere in you, did you know that you had, now be real transparent with this.
Sure.
That you had leadership qualities at that time. Did you know that or not? Did you know that?
I would say I didn't know that I had leadership quality.
Did you want to stand out?
I always wanted to be up front.
You wanted to be up front. Is that why you became a preacher?
Yes. I told my mother when I was in 4th grade I wanted to be a civil rights leader.
Got it.
I should take my Bible to school, and for what? I didn't even know how to read it, but I've always wanted to be out front.
Yes.
I've always wanted to be the person who led people through struggle.
Yeah.
I would have these fantasies.
Is that because you saw some struggle in your life?
Definitely.
So you want to lead other people through those struggles.
Yes.
So you have children.
I do.
You're married.
Yes.
This is your first and only marriage.
This is my second marriage.
Your second marriage.
My first marriage.
Play. Why limited to 4 walls? Play should run wild and free. With the PlayStation Portal in your hands, play finds a way.
PlayStation.
Yeah, I had one child, my first marriage.
Okay.
Me and my first wife got divorced, and then Wendy and I got together and we got married.
Did any of what you dealt with affect your first marriage?
I would say yes, it did. I would say yes, it did. It affected, especially my relationship with my father. I would go into deep depression about my father, and I know that affected how I related to my first wife. You know, and I would go into these moments of depression and sadness and anger sometimes, and I know that affected her.
Do you know why your father was not around as much?
He was married.
That's right.
He was married. He was married.
He couldn't be around as much.
He couldn't be. And then when he and his first wife got separated, he could have been, but then he had another mistress by the name of bourbon and rum.
I got it.
He was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So those things kept him away. He would come around from time to time, but it was never enough to make a difference.
And you went to Julian High School, and you used. Not everybody does this. Not everybody knows how to do this, but you obviously used your pain to become progress for so many people, because helping people to reshape their thinking, their bodies, their minds, the way they functioned. You know, you did that, and you did it using your leadership ability.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that leadership ability has blessed so many people, and that leadership ability really came from the example that your mother gave.
Absolutely.
And then I watch you in social media deal with the loss. Was that was your mom that
that was
passed?
my mom that passed in 20.
And that was like a couple of years ago? 23.
Yeah.
I watch you deal with that. So walk everybody through how you did. We take these classes in college, you know, death and dying and all these classes. How do you deal with someone who actually singularly was the reason, through her pain, helped you be an overcomer yourself and then be the answer for so many other people? How did you deal with that? So take people where you really were when you were dealing with your mother, because people see people die, and of course you don't want to lose anybody in your family.
Right.
But you dealt with that, plus you dealt with someone who actually, like clay on a wheel, molded you.
I tell the people all the time, my mother was my first teacher. And she was also my favorite book. My mother, she got sick in 2020 with dementia. And from 2020 till the day she died, my favorite book every single day lost a page. But I knew that book from backwards. I could recite every title, every letter out of that book. But every day that I went to that book, a different page was missing. At first, it wasn't a lot to notice a difference in the story. But as we got down towards the end, pages became chapters and chapters became the whole book. And what I mean by that is she began to diminish. And I likened it to an ice cube on a table. At first, when you're looking at that ice cube, it looks fine. Then over a period of time, it starts melting away and it turns into a puddle of water. My mother, she poured into me so much love and kindness. And regardless of everything that I went through with my brothers or with society or whatever, she was always there to pick up the pieces. She wanted me to learn life and not baby me through life. So when I was hurt over my father, she wouldn't step in and say, hey, we're not going to let this happen again. She would let me learn my father. When I was upset or my brothers were messing with me, she would let me learn to fight so that I could be strong enough to deal with things coming. And she taught me everything that I know, AC. And the moment I realized that she couldn't teach me anymore and I had to start taking care of her, I had to take steps to become for her what she was for me, to protect her, to care for her, to watch over her, to make sure that she had her daily needs met. And that process was hard because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to take care of an elderly woman with dementia. I had no training in that area. I had no understanding, knowledge, or skill. But then I had to learn quick. And when I say I had to learn quick, I had to learn during a time when COVID was going on and you couldn't get doctor's appointments. So all of the doctor's appointments was online.
And you had to learn this while you were dealing emotionally with your mom, your mentor,
disappearing
your caretaker. Just, wow.
Yep.
So for the people out there, there's so many layers to your story, obviously. How many chapters in this book?
There's 16 chapters in the book.
16 chapters and
90,000 words.
and what did you do? You when you were laying it out, were you typing on a computer and laying out the book?
So yes, I typed it on the computer. My 50th birthday in 2021, I decided to start telling my own truth, telling my story, and talking about what was going on. And initially, it was just my way of getting over some past hurts in my life. And as I'm typing it, I'm realizing the themes of overcoming, the themes of strategizing, the themes of resilience. And I'm like, this could help somebody. So I just kept typing. And each chapter was dedicated to a different thing or a different person. So whether it's my mother, my grandmother, my father, my brothers, my wife, my children, these are the things that are in the chapter, in the books. And I just kept typing based on my inspiration that particular day. And every day from 21 until 24, I typed in that book, I wrote. And when I got done, I had 150,000 words, but we've edited it down to 91,000. But yeah, and it was a process.
So how do you think your mother would feel?
The story is very odd, very complex. It really commits to something very original and surprise people. Once you've gotten over the shock, everyone was having tons of fun.
Mickey 17, March 7th, rated R.
Knowing that hundreds of thousands, million people will read her son's words that was inspired by her. How do you think she would feel about that?
If my mom was here right now, she was sitting right here next to me, she would pat me on my leg and she'd say, baby, these people gonna read everything you say and they're gonna love it. And she would look over and say, my Javid, my Javid. That's what she would say.
That's what she would say.
Yep.
I'm
sorry, it's a little emotional talking about mom.
No, it's all right. All right, so how do people get this book?
We are in the pre-order stage right now.
Okay.
Pre-orders end at the end of this month. They can go to my website.
Okay.
My whole name, JavidLJenkins.com.
JavidLJenkins.com. All right, JavidLJenkins.com.
And they can click and order it right there. We are really close to fulfilling our pre-order allotment.
Okay.
But if I have to order more because of all these wonderful people that
we're gonna make it so that he has to order more.
Yeah.
All right, JavidLJenkins.com, you all.
It's right there as soon as they click.
Send me something. Did you send me anything?
I did.
All right, please.
I'll send it again.
You're not bugging me. Just make sure I post that.
I will.
All right, so people can get it.
I will.
So we talked about this word, T.Y. We looked it up. Cathartic.
Yeah.
So was it cathartic for you to write this book?
Yes, it was very cathartic because some of the things that I've had to overcome in my life, I just bottled up. And because I bottled them up, the people who had to deal with them when they tried to get out was my wife and my kids, and my business associates. And it wasn't fair to them, that every September 11th, I'd get a certain mentality. I'd get in a depression. They didn't know why, but now that's my father's birthday. So I get a little depressed on my dad's birthday because, it's my dad's birthday. So I had to get through these things, and it was very cathartic while I was getting through those things.
How old are you?
I'm 52.
52 years old.
Wait a minute, I'm 53.
So at 53 years old,
yep.
If you had to, you're 53. So there are some things that if you could do over, you probably would. Talk to all of the children, I don't care what age they are, they could be 80, who you did good with your mother.
Thank you, sir.
You did. Nobody could do better. If you watch them on social media, no human could do more for their mother, as she left this earth.
Thank you.
Physically. She's never going to leave here spiritually because it's going to be with you. But the father side, what would you do differently in terms of connection, relationship, whatever, with your father if you could go all back further? How would you deal with things differently? And talk as though you're talking to somebody out there who has a physical father where they can go touch right now.
Wow, that's deep. So for the record, my father and I, we have a relationship. Now, it is the relationship that I'm accepting. It's what I can get from my dad. He's 83 years old, and what he can do is just be around a little bit. So I'll take that. But to anybody that's going through right now and their relationship with their father is strained or they can't find their father, the only thing I would say to you is just keep waiting and hoping. Unfortunately, fathers, they do what they can with the light that they're given. And at the time that my father...
Say that again.
They do what they can with the light that they're given.
They do what they can with the light that they're given.
And at the time, my dad, he didn't have the tools to be a father. He had all the skill. He had the potential to be a great father, but he had his own demons he was fighting. Demons that I don't know about. We've not talked about these things. So he was drowning those demons with alcohol. He was drowning those demons with avoidance. He wasn't abusive. He just wasn't there. So I would tell people, you can't expect a father that doesn't have tools to build a house. You can't. He doesn't have the tools to do it. You want him to build shelter over you. He doesn't have the ability to do it. So you have to find where your father's ability is and meet him there. And if you can't teach him to build or show him how to, or if he doesn't want to learn to build, then that's your father. That's the father you have.
That's right.
And I can't go to war because my father wasn't there for me. I'm not going to be Epsilon going after David because he wasn't there for me. I'm going to take the father I got and love him for who he is. But I'm going to make sure I am not that father to my kids. I'm going to make sure that I provide for my children what I wanted for myself and then some.
So look at this. So you don't mount a pulpit, podium, or a church front and center every Sunday.
No, sir, not anymore.
But God got you in ministry.
Yeah, I'm still ministering.
Look at his work. Look at all that works.
I run from it, but he still some kind of way he pulls me back to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
JavidLJenkins.com. Javid. Javid. Could have called you David.
No, sir. Absolutely not.
Why not? Why not David?
I refuse to let anyone call me.
No. I'm saying your mom.
Okay.
Somebody named you, right?
My mother named me Javid.
And why Javid, not David?
You
ever asked her that?
No, I know exactly why. It's in the book. It's in the book.
Y'all got to get this book.
The circumstances behind my name is messy at best.
Okay, we ain't gonna talk about it. I
will just say that there is no hell like a woman scorned. When you look at my name,
come on now,
Javid Lawrence Jenkins.
There you go.
There's a whole story behind that. There's a whole story. It's in the book.
All right, so here's the deal. You heard it first here. So you gotta make it a million seller. But while they're making it a million seller, right, you're gonna share with everybody you know and all that, right?
Please.
While you're doing that, you're gonna have to go take a trip down there, see Tyler Perry, have them do a scream. Serious business.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Knock on his door every now and then. Maybe once a month. Knock on his door. Hey, I'm here again. Here it is, right there. You never know. You never know.
Hey,
never know. Sounds good to me.
My sister lived down there. I go down there. I'll do it.
Send it to her. Let her knock on the door. Go right on around there, right in the neighborhood, kind of like.
I agree.
All right, you all. JavidLJenkins.com. JavidLJenkins.com. My pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Javid L. Jenkins. Absolutely. You're a great man.
Thank
He's
you,
a great man. And he went to Julian High School.
Yes,
everybody.
absolutely. Jaguars.
All right.
House.
Jaguars. More to come. It's the AC Green Show. Solar 106.3.